Must have went in the pumpkin and come out. Be with you. No. We're pleasure.
One second, just resting first. No, I'm just making a note of something.
I won't have it.
All right.
Not much.
All right, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Please call the roll.
Mayor Delaquila, Director Blah Pignatello,
Here.
Councilman at Large Bicker,
Here.
Councilman at Large Kranek,
Here.
Councilman at Large Traffus,
Here.
Ward 1 Councilman Biassiata,
Here.
Ward 2 Councilman Frondor,
Here.
Ward 3 Councilman Kukrow,
Here.
Ward 4 Councilman Petro, Director of Public Service and Properties Levis,
Here.
Building Commissioner Morrow.
Okay, before we get going tonight, I received an email from Mayor Delaquila a little bit ago. He is home ill, and Councilman Petro contacted me earlier today, and a personal family matter came up this evening, and he could not attend. So I'm going to make a motion to excuse both of them from our meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Biassiata,
Yes.
Frondor,
Yes.
Kranek,
Yes.
Kukrow,
Yes.
Traffus,
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
The mayor and Councilman Petro are excused. We'll begin with the reading and disposal of the journal.
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Frondor.
Having read the council minutes of the council meeting dated September 27th, 2016, I find no errors or omissions, and therefore I move that they be approved as printed.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata,
Yes.
Frondor,
Yes.
Kranek,
Yes.
Kukrow,
Yes.
Traffus,
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
The council meeting minutes of September 27th, 2016 have been adopted. Moving on to consent agenda.
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Frondor.
I have two issues regarding the consent agenda. I would like to amend the consent agenda to include an invoice for Action Door. This is an emergency from our service department. It's a 12-foot wide by 14-foot high door. Total installation and removal of the old door and installation of a new door, $4,791. And this money would come out of the service equipment levy fund, would not come out of the general fund. And I would also like to amend item number 4 of the consent agenda to strike payment be made from funds at the discretion of the Director of Finance. I'd like to strike discretion of the Director of Finance and state from funds from the Street Maintenance Repair Fund.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata,
Yes.
Frondor,
Yes.
Kranek,
Yes.
Kukrow,
Yes.
Traffus,
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
The consent agenda has been amended. Is there a further motion?
Yes, Mr. President.
Councilman Frondor.
If there's no division of the question, I move that we accept the amended consent agenda dated October 11th, 2016.
I'll second that. Is there a discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata,
Yes.
Frondor,
Yes.
Kranek,
Yes.
Kukrow,
Yes.
Traffus,
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Consent agenda has been passed. Are there any resolutions of commendation?
There are none.
Reports of committees. The Planning, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee last met on September 19th. Those meeting minutes are filed with the clerk, and our next meeting will be held on October 17th. Community Services Committee, Councilman Bicker.
Our last meeting was October 4th. Minutes are pending, and our next meeting is Monday, November 1st.
Thank you, Councilman. Police and Safety Committee, Councilman Kranek.
Yes, Mr. President, the next meeting of Police, Fire, and Safety will be on October 17th.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation, Councilman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our last meeting was on September 19th. Those meeting minutes are forthcoming, and our next meeting is on October 17th.
Thank you, Councilman. Rules, Ordinances, and Ethics, Councilman Biassiata.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our last meeting was October 4th. Those meetings minutes are pending. Our next meeting will be on November 7th.
Thank you. Finance, Civil Service, and Personnel, Councilman Frondorf.
Yes, Mr. President, our last meeting was held on October 4th. Our next meeting will be held on October 17th, and the minutes from the October 4th meeting are forthcoming.
Thank you, Councilman. There are no appointments and confirmations tonight. Are there any communications, petitions, and claims?
Yes, I have a copy of a letter from Captain Joseph Manning, Acting Chief of Police from the City of Parma, dated September 12th, addressed to the Chief of our Police Department. I would like to express my appreciation for your assistance at the MVA on September 9th, 2016, that occurred on Broadview Road in the City of Parma. After the vehicle involved came to rest, one occupant left the vehicle and proceeded to a house in the area where he holed up until surrendering peacefully. This was a very tense situation, and with the extra assistance from your department, it made this situation easier for Parma Police to handle. Working hand in hand with you to secure the area and close off the roadway, secure the schools and daycares in the area, and provide support were greatly appreciated. Sincerely, Captain Joseph Manning, Acting Police Chief. And I'd also like to make note for the record that the advertisement for bids for both the 2016 street crack sealing program and the pavement markings program have been advertised as required, and the bid opening for both of these projects will be on Friday, October 21st at noon.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, council will now be open to the audience on legislation only. If you have any comments about anything on our agenda this evening, please approach the podium and state your name and address. Is there anybody? Okay. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 104, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Biassiata.
I move that we suspend the rules of the charter and read ordinance 104, 2016 for its third and final reading.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondorf.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 104, 2016, introduced by Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement on behalf of the city of Southern Hills, Ohio, with State Industrial Products Incorporated of for the purpose of acquiring a comprehensive water treatment program for the boiler at City Hall for the term of 1 year and appropriating an amount not to exceed $567.
Ordinance number 104, 2016 has been read for its third and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Biassiata.
I move that we pass ordinance 104, 2016.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 104, 2016 has been passed. Moving on to ordinance number 105, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Bicker.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read ordinance 105, 2016 for third reading.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 105, 2016, introduced by Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. An ordinance accepting the consortium bid of Ports Petroleum Company Incorporated of Wooster, Ohio, to be the best consortium bid therefore, authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement for the purchase of ultra-low sulfur diesel premium fuel for the period of December 8, 2016 through December 7, 2017, to be used by the service department vehicles, fire department vehicles, and a city hall generator, and authorizing an amount not to exceed $25,000 for said purchase.
Ordinance number 105, 2016 has been read for its third and final reading. Is there a motion?
I move to pass ordinance 105, 2016.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 105, 2016 has been passed. We will now have the first reading of ordinance number 110, 2016.
Ordinance number 110, 2016, introduced by Mayor Delaquila and councilpersons Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with the District Advisory Council of the Cuyahoga County General Health District for the purpose of providing public health services for the year 2017.
Ordinance number 110, 2016 has been read for its first reading. Moving on to ordinance number 111, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we amend ordinance number 111, 2016 in declaring an emergency.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Ordinance number 111, 2016 has been amended. Is there a further motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read amended ordinance number 111, 2016 for its final reading.
By title only.
Emergency.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 111, 2016, introduced by Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Kranek, Bicker, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. An ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement on behalf of the city of Seven Hills, Ohio, with CAD Technology Center Incorporated of Bloomington, Minnesota, for the purchase of Autodesk AutoCAD LT 2017 commercial new single-user 3-year subscription with advanced support for the engineering department of the city of Seven Hills, and appropriating the sum not to exceed $475 for said purchase and declaring an emergency.
Amended ordinance number 111, 2016 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we pass amended ordinance number 111, 2016.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Stuart, may I ask you to explain why the emergency?
Because the offer expires later this month.
Thank
So
you.
there's a time
Thank you.
limit.
Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended ordinance number 111, 2016 has been passed. Moving on to amended resolution number 56, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read amended resolution number 56, 2016, declaring an emergency.
I'll second that, Mr. President.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended resolution number 56, 2016, introduced by Mayor Delaquila and Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Kranek, Bicker, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution of encouragement and support to retain Normandy High School as an operating high school and to maintain Hillside Middle School as a functioning middle school within the Parma City School District and declaring an emergency.
Amended Resolution Number 56, 2016 has been read for its second and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Kukrow.
I move that we adopt amended resolution number 56, 2016.
I second that, Mr. President.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Amended Resolution Number 56, 2016 has been adopted. Moving on to Resolution Number 57, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Biassiata.
I move that we adopt Resolution I move that we suspend the rules under charter and read Resolution 57-2016 for its first and final reading.
Councilman Bicker.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 57, 2016, introduced by Mayor Delaquila and councilpersons Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor of the city of Seven Hills to sign a letter directed to Raytech Systems of Stowe, Ohio, informing them of the city's intent to terminate the existing contracts between the city of Seven Hills and Raytech Systems and declaring an emergency.
Resolution Number 57, 2016 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Biassiata.
I move that we adopt Resolution number 57-2016.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution Number 57, 2016 has been adopted. Moving on to Resolution Number 58, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Kranek.
I move that we read Resolution Number 58, 2016 by title only for its first and final reading.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution number 58, 2016, introduced by Mayor Delaquila and Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution approving and accepting temporary utility easements granted to the city of Seven Hills, Ohio by David M. Grilly, Macy L. Miller, Lawrence W. Stanek, and Brian Tamaro and Kelly A. Kakowski for the installation, construction, and maintenance of utilities, together with all appurtenances, appropriating the sum not to exceed $3,110 for the acquisition of said easements and declaring an emergency.
Resolution Number 58, 2016 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Kranek.
I would move that we adopt Resolution Number 58, 2016.
Second that.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution 58, 2016 has been adopted. Moving on to Resolution Number 59, 2016.
Mr. President,
Councilman Bicker.
I move that we suspend the rules under the charter and read ordinance number 59, 2016 for the first reading.
Resolution.
I'm sorry, resolution 59, 16.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Gotta read it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Resolution
It's not one
number
of those days.
59, 2016, introduced by Mayor Delaquila and Councilman Traffus, Frondorf, Bicker, Kranek, Biassiata, Kukrow, and Petro. A resolution approving and accepting temporary utility easements granted to the city of Seven Hills, Ohio by Diane M. Vole and Brian J. Alexiak for the installation, construction, and maintenance of utilities, together with all appurtenances, appropriating the sum not to exceed $620 for the acquisition of said easements and declaring an emergency.
Resolution Number 59, 2016 has been read for its first and final reading. Is there a motion?
Mr. President,
Councilman Bicker.
I move that we adopt resolution 59, 2016.
I second.
Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek.
Yes.
Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Resolution 59, 2016 has been adopted. Council will now be open to the audience on any subject matter you wish to address. If you have any comments, please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Evening, Council.
Good evening.
My name is Jay Younglis. I live at 6375 Ruth Drive. I'm approaching you this evening to offer my thoughts on the current situation with the Parma City School District. My wife Suzanne and I moved into Seven Hills about 2 years ago. We're both formerly worked in education, and we're both concerned about the situation going on with Parma City Schools, and especially in terms of this current unforeseen budget deficit. And I wanted to ask a couple of questions of council. I'm not sure if you know the answers, and share a couple of my thoughts. And the first thing I wanted to ask is if anyone's aware of what percentage of the Parma City School budget Seven Hills contributes overall.
We have those numbers off the top of my head. I don't recall what they are, but does anybody on the dais remember?
We are about 10% of the population of the school district,
Okay.
and I believe we contribute about $16 million a year or so, about almost as much as, right about the same amount as Parma Heights, but the city of Parma contributes the vast majority of it.
Okay.
About 20%, sir. 10% of the student population, about 20% of the operating budget.
However, I will say that we do contribute more percentage-wise based upon our home property values, and it's actually
Right.
quite significant. In one instance, it's 60-something%. In another instance, it's over 70% compared
Okay.
to the two other districts.
Thank you for that. The reason I asked was I kind of went back on my own and looked at the U.S. Census data and the Ohio Department of Education data, and looked at our population in terms of school age, head count versus what we contribute, and I came to the same conclusion that we're contributing considerably more than our share to the district than, quite frankly, I think we should. I'm concerned about the academic portion of what's going on with Parma schools. I understand, historically, the schools that are located within Seven Hills have performed usually better than the schools in the
Not
range.
usually,
Consistently. I know that, even keeping in mind the recent redesigned Ohio ODE report cards, that even though Hillside didn't perform great, to be frank, it still performed better than the other two middle schools rather, in the district. And in my opinion, it seems to me that going forward, this is no longer just an academic issue. It is a financial issue for the city, because I think of property values. I think of people who want to move into the district. Into the city rather. My wife knows people who unfortunately left Seven Hills because their children reached school age and did not want to send their kids to the Parma schools. So going forward, I guess my point is that looking at neighboring districts, it seems that we have the enrollment to support an independent district. I understand there is an issue with getting Parma to release Seven Hills from the district. That's my understanding. If that's the case, it seems to me that academically, Seven Hills has held up its end of the bargain. Fiscally, Seven Hills has done more than its share of holding up its end of the bargain and supporting the district. And I feel that it's time that Seven Hills takes a very strong, focused look at the possibility of either forming its own district or seeking opportunities to join another district that might. I understand Independence, that's been researched, and Independence doesn't necessarily look for Seven Hills to join it, but something like Cuyahoga Heights or somewhere around there. So I just would, Mr. Travis.
Thank you. Did we email back and forth?
We did.
Yes.
We
Okay.
did, yes.
I thought that was you.
Yes.
First, to go back to what you were saying, I pulled those numbers real quick, and I'll go through it briefly. First, the population. Parma has 81,600 people. Parma Heights, 20,700. Seven Hills, 11,800. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Parma residents contribute $73,700,000 in real estate tax to the school district.
Mm-hmm.
Parma Heights, $16,681,000. Seven Hills, $17,429,000. Now, how that breaks down by household, Parma, 903 million. Parma Heights, 805 million. Let me take that back. My eyesight isn't great, and my contact is bothering me, so I'm looking at the dots and I can't see them. Parma, $903 per household. Parma Heights, $805 per household. Seven Hills, $1,476 per household. Per person. There it is. Again, my eyes aren't great with my contacts right now. But I'll send this to you.
Okay.
So you have that. Now, as far as transferring to a different school district or creating our own, it is virtually impossible. It's been tried a number of times in our city. If we could do it, I think we'd all be the biggest cheerleaders of that. The Parma School District obviously is getting a lot of revenue from us, and they'd have to release us. And we would have to join a neighboring school district. In our case, it's either Brecksville-Broadview Heights, Independence, or Cuyahoga Heights.
Right.
Cuyahoga Heights because we border Brooklyn Heights.
Right. It has to be contiguous.
And in previous discussions with them that the city has had, they had no interest. However, Jim, perhaps Jim can go first, then Tony. Jim, why don't you explain what you've been working on as far as tuition-based?
Yeah, do you have kids now?
I do have two kids. They attend Cuyahoga Heights, and they were previously
That's
tuition students there.
Okay, so you know about the tuition-based
Yes.
program.
Yes.
So there's obviously the Catholic schools in the area.
Right.
And Cuyahoga Heights has a tuition-based program,
Yes.
which is, it's not as expensive as some of the Catholic schools. You're fully aware of that
Yes.
option. To Matt's point, I've done a lot of research on this as well. To get released would not only require Parma's consent, but also the state's consent.
Right.
And then you're at a point where you have to get a taker, somebody who says, we'd love to have you. So I've crunched the numbers, and I know how many kids we have in our school district that go to the Parma schools from public records requests.
Okay.
So, if we could ever find somebody that wanted to take us, maybe we could make that argument to the state that they'd be interested in letting us go or something. But
I guess my question, why do we have to join another district? Why would we not be allowed to perform our own? I don't know.
well, first of all, we don't have a building here
Okay,
that could sustain a school.
I see.
We'd have to put don't quote me on all of this, but just basic logic says we'd have to put a money levy on a ballot to make enough money to create a school, to create a school district, and then get state, approval for it.
Right.
And then, and here's the thing, we don't have the tax base like Independence does. We don't have the tax base like Cuyahoga Heights does with the industry.
Sure.
So, I would guess we would probably have to do close to a $15 to $20 million levy to create our own school district, maybe less, I don't know. But believe me, it's all been considered by people years. This man in the back of the room, former Mayor Jerry Traffus, probably has looked into this 1,000 times in the past.
I did.
Okay.
So I would love to talk to you more about it and come up with ideas for it.
I would be very much open. I would
'cause
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
No,
I
Tony?
agree with everything that my fellow council people said. I just wanted to add one thing. There is a state law, I don't quote me on the ordinance, but I could look it up and email it to you. That's an additional hurdle to all that we heard, is that the state won't allow a city to lead a school system if it does financial harm to the system you're leaving. Now, based upon all the numbers that Councilman Mann and Councilman Jim shared with you, there's no way for us to exit the system without doing financial harm to them. So we have several hurdles here, though. But in principle, I agree everything you shared today. I appreciate you coming because I agree with it all.
Unfortunately, I also think that I understand that there's a law that says that we can't do financial harm to a district, but unfortunately, I think that district is doing financial harm to us at this point.
Hey.
And it's,
You have surmised basically where we are at. We are contributing quite a bit, in my opinion, getting very much the short end of the stick in this situation.
So in the short term, all of us are united in trying to ensure that we get as much value as we can, protecting the residents and students of Seven Hills.
Sorry, we didn't have the answers you wanted to hear.
I just wanted to speak my voice.
I got
Thank you very much.
business card up here. I want to make sure that I reach out to you. Yeah. Last thing I'll add to that is we really are working on this. I have a 14-year-old and 11-year-old in the district. My wife is the most active PTA participant in the last 15 years of
Possibly in the country.
I'm living this, and I'm right in the middle of it. You know, we spent our 19-year anniversary last week at the school board meeting, sitting together, learning about this. So we're on it, and every idea and anything you have, please feed it this way. You know, maybe someday we come up with something, but right now it doesn't look like it's anything realistic. But I haven't gotten this far in life without trying, so let's keep going.
And yes, there's an opening on the Parma School Board if you're interested.
Yeah. Anybody further in the audience? I apologize, but please. And just for our minutes, you have to state your name and address. I'm sorry.
Suzanne Youngless, 6375 Ruth Drive, Seven Hills. My follow-up question is regard to the newsletter I saw, the most recent newsletter. It said that 64% of our property taxes are going to these schools. How is that determined? Is there a way to cut that back and repurpose that money somewhere else? Just thinking, like you said, that we'd have to have a levy with a lot of money on it. You know, would some of that money then not go for Parma schools, but for a new school district, or, you know, how would that work?
Go on, Tom.
I don't know the exact specific. For me, it's 66%. We are part of the school system and we're taxed that way. There's no way to trim that number in any way, shape, or form.
The state just does it.
I guess then my other question is, what would it take for Parma to release us? Like, what would they say are the reasons that they will not release us at this point?
I can only, you want to take that, Tim?
It's money. I mean, it comes right down to it. You've heard the numbers. You know, we're a cash cow for, you know, Parma City Schools, and you know, if we were to leave for whatever reason, it would cause financial harm, you know, to that system, and we're in an unenviable position because of that. I mean, it's just as you said, you know, we're not getting value for our dollars paid.
And just like a side note, you know, coming into moving to Seven Hills recently, that was a very top consideration for us, was the school district. And I do have a coworker that recently moved out of the district over the summer because they're thinking of the future and having kids, and they don't want to, you know, have the kids go to the Parma schools for performance and, you know, how much paying for taxes. So
My kids went to Green Valley, Hillside, and now Normandy. And I'm sorry, but those are the three best schools in the district, consistently from the academic perspective, and in my opinion. And that's changing. We might lose Green Valley, you know, and Normandy might be a middle school. Who knows what's going to happen? But I totally agree with you. Believe me, I'm not sleeping at night from this. Believe me.
okay. Well, thank you all.
Thanks for being here.
Mr. President?
Yes,
I
sir.
may be excused. I have a previous situation.
Absolutely.
Carol Paladin, 3185 Sparrow Flag Drive. Years ago, we found out that this is not really something you can solve, but perhaps you can contribute to the question to the superintendent and the Board of Education, or through the mayors. The funding of our schools in the state of Ohio was declared unconstitutional.
Twice.
Yes. Nothing has been done. I don't know what entity can push that.
It is solely on the state legislature to change the funding method.
So perhaps in one of our newsletters or community informations, we could do something to petition through a board the Board of Education, the Tri-City boards, to look into the constitutional matter again. Furthermore, I understand that in December 2016, the performance audit will be completed and presented to the Board of Education. In that, the mayors asked Ohio Innovation. They came up with delinquent taxes for residents and businesses throughout the district, that there would be quite a large sum available to pay down their debt of this year's $7 million deficit. In addition, it found that the district was administration heavy, among other things. So I don't know if you're encouraging the district, can someone, perhaps the mayors, address those specific issues? They seem to just be overlooked. And I find that they are financially very important issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. I do know that there's been many local governmental entities that have lobbied the state legislature to change the funding method for schools. I don't know why the state hasn't acted on it, but you're absolutely right that it's been ruled unconstitutional. And that's one of the biggest problems in Ohio right now, is the method of funding schools. But I'll relay your message to the mayor. Sure. Anybody further? Okay. The mayor is absent, so we'll move past his report. Reports from the directors of departments. Service Director Stuart Levis.
No report this evening.
Thank you. Law Director Richard Pignatello.
No report this evening.
Thank you. All right, Council Miscellaneous. Let's start with Councilman Frondorf.
Nothing this evening.
Councilman Kukrow.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I don't want to go long, but I do want to let you know that, again, I'm doing everything I possibly can to find an answer, a solution to this, even if there's not going to be one, but I'm working hard. We do have a meeting in the morning with the superintendent, some city officials and people like that. So if you want to know more about it, take my card and I'll give you an update of what happened at that meeting. I know Tony's more of a numbers guy than I am, so he's got a lot of information about the numbers and everything, but we're definitely working on it for sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Bicker.
Just want to thank everybody for showing up, and a special thanks to Jay and his wife, your recent resident, and showing activism like this is important, and it's appreciated.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Biassiata.
No comment today, Mr. President.
Thank you. I just have a few quick things. One thing's very exciting. The Rockside Road Development Plan Unit Development legislation was finally enacted, and this is the beginning to a $130 million development on Rockside Road, and the economic projections for the city are between $600,000 and $700,000 annually once it's fully built out. And this is certainly a game changer. This is a great thing for our city. It's really going to help put us on the map and bring a younger generation into Seven Hills. Hopefully both members of the family are working and contributing a lot of income tax money to us. So also thank you for moving here for that. And actually, I'd like to chat with you about our income tax issue after the meeting, because I think you might be able to save some money if it passes, but that's another story. We're moving forward with the developers agreement with this project. I hope that we will have a conclusion to that by the end of this year. Within the next month or so, it's the intention of the developer to start knocking houses down on Crossview and Rockside that they own. The plan is right now that 11 of the houses that are vacant will be coming down, and it's certainly going to be a kind of a reality check to us that we're moving forward, and it's very exciting. Unfortunately, after council passed the ordinance, the mayor chose not to sign it to make it law. Can't figure out why, but he didn't. The way our organization is set up, the mayor has to sign it within 10 days or veto it. He did neither, which shows he does not support this. I wish he'd get on board, but it is what it is. I want to mention a couple things about the fire department and a couple of our ballot issues that are coming up. And it's very important that we correct a couple perceptions that are currently held by some of the members of our fire department. And honestly, most of us believe it was kind of fanned by a ploy to put distance between council and the fire department. It's very unfortunate because these issues are so important to the city right now. The belief is that myself or other members of council use the term outsider when referring to the petition process that the fire department conducted to get their charter change amendment on the ballot. And I couldn't figure out where that term outsiders came from. And I believe there's a good chance that many of our residents are going to read about this in literature that is mailed to the houses soon. And I spent a number of hours reviewing my notes and reading prior minutes and articles and listening to tapes of these discussions about the petitions and restricting the circulation to the Seven Hills residents only. And I honestly could not find any reference to the term outsiders. And I just kept scratching my head where this came from. And then I found out after doing a little bit more reading that it was actually the mayor that brought this up the first time. So I wanted to just put it out there and make sure that everybody is clear that our council unanimously is supporting the passage of the fire levy for a variety of different reasons. And certainly no employee in the city is considered to be an outsider. We're all part of the Seven Hills family, and we need to work together. Last thing I would like to mention is that Councilman Frondorf, who is our Finance Committee Chairman, called our budget hearings, which is a great thing because traditionally they've been held much later and closer to our deadline. We're taking an active role in this budget to get this process moving, and we absolutely have to balance our budget in 2017. The deficit that was presented to council by the mayor this year was 1.35 million. We did what we could and already slashed $400,000 from it. It's a good start, but it's not enough, and this cannot continue. We have a little bit over $3 million left in our general fund, which is basically our checking account. And if the current trend continues, we will be out of money in 2 years. And if that happens, we are in a very similar situation as the Parma School District. It's not going to happen. So if issues 91 and 92, our income tax levy and our fire levy pass, we'll be doing very, very well. We'll actually have a surplus of between $500,000 and $600,000 a year, which will allow us to get back to infrastructure programs, repairing streets and sewers and things of that nature. However, if these levies fail, our projected deficit for 2017 is $1.5 million, a little bit more than that. I can only speak for myself, but I am 100% committed to a balanced budget next year, one way or another. If the levies don't pass, the only way to balance the budget is from massive reductions of expenses. Over 80% of our budget is personnel. $2.3 million of our roughly $9 million budget is to fund the police department. We will have a reduction of police officers. We will probably have more of a reduction of service department employees. And it's just going to go across the board. This cannot happen to Seven Hills. We are still a very good city that I'm very proud to be from. and our residents deserve the best services we can provide. But without the money, we won't be able to pay for it, and we need to stop the bleeding. So I sincerely hope all of our residents will join us in voting for issues 91 and 92. And that's all I have this evening.
Can I add that, to that, Matt?
Councilman Bicker.
Yes, if we continue to run deficits also, looking 3 years from here, the state could possibly take over the Seven Hills government and make decisions that we would have a hard time making.
Thank you, Councilman. Anybody further before we adjourn? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Biassiata.
Yes.
Frondor.
Yes.
Kranek. He's not here. Kukrow.
Yes.
Traffus.
Yes.
Bicker.
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned. Tim?
Okay. You are signing the council. Go in the caucus, I do. Oh, okay. I didn't mind signing in blue. That way I know, anything with the green flag, it's everything we pass. Just sign your name and then I'm gonna go back with the typewriter and put your name in there as backup pro temp. Everything but one tonight. Yeah, I have a copy of that, yeah. I'll tell you too, I'll take the good old typewriter and fix that. I will not give it up.
Wait out.
Get all the red this time. There might be something else in addition to orange. 3 months. Young or something, young. I'll check the, yeah, I've got the address. I got them all. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem President.
All right. Well, at least I got to do something tonight. What's that?
Practice. Practice.
I've always said that
Yeah.
when I was in
I think, accepted by customer, yeah, we're the customer, so sign and print and whatever it tells you to do.
when I was in elementary school, and I would misbehave, and the teacher would make me write 100 times. I will not talk in class, I will not talk in class. It just prepared me for stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah. Hollow or something is here, is it because of that partition is so small?
Yeah.
Although the caucus room had a weird air too tonight. Yeah, these are the minutes. These I know.
He should just never show up.
Get it done. Oh, nice. Yeah, very nice. I like it. Hi, how you doing? Good.